Hello, my name is Avishek Bose. As on May 2020, I have approximately 15 years of work experience. This video is a humble attempt to summarize my experiences and skill sets to express my capabilities better. I am currently heading data management, digital systems, and audit for a startup called Mystic Ventures, which is primarily into turfing and landscaping related solutions. We are also coming up with hydroponics for balcony gardens. Our parent company had done the turfing replacement for the Commonwealth Games in 2010. I'm attaching a separate video edited exclusively by me that explains the work in detail in the description below of this private YouTube link that I am sharing with you. I have also been doing ad hoc process optimization and consulting for companies like Signoprinto Packaging, Goodwin Tea, High-Tech Systems, Fashion Formal Clothing. I shall talk about the technical details of some of these projects in a minute. After running you through my employment history available in my resume, the link for which is also available in the description below for your reference. I graduated from Christ College, Bangalore, with a bachelor's degree in business management with specialization in marketing, and I was placed in Hewlett Packard in October 2005. I started with processing high-value orders on SAP Fusion. It took a little more than a year to transition into the role of a team lead in an experimental quality control team to check the errors that were being caused because of silly, oversights and lack of experience. This was resulting in millions of dollars to be stuck in the channel. We were coached by the HP Global Quality team into implementing Six Sigma, Kaizen, and various other quality principles and tools in the volume ops. We had managed to raise the process Sigma score from 2.46 to 5.12 Sigma within a year's time. Parallelly, I also got certified for Green Belt and I passed the test. This achievement of mine was very well appreciated by the higher management, and very soon I was promoted to the HP's decision support and analytical team, which was an unprecedented promotion across silos. I immediately started feeling like a tiny fish in an ocean. There were IIM and Harvard grads all around me. I had the best learning experience of my life. This was the team that introduced me to spreadsheets and the plethora of functions, and slowly I learned how to nest the formulas to automate any and every repetitive logical task. From those days, working on spreadsheets and solving data challenges has become a passion, and it feels like I'm solving a puzzle, very honestly, and I feel I'm getting paid for it. I jumped from HP to Ogilvy and Mather as a campaign analyst, uh, and I was servicing their IBM account. Uh, Primarily at IBM, it was a lot of manual cleaning up of data. Uh, I think this is a good time that I show you one of the Excel sheets that I had created. Let me show you this particular sheet called One Universe, which I had created. So basically, what happens is in a company where you have different company names in a marketing database. Let's say I have Signoprinto Packaging Limited. Somebody will write it as uh, PVT Ltd. Somebody will write it as Private Limited, and various other things like that. So I would have a list running into lakhs of rows. So what I used to do was I used to place the that column here in this particular cell in A1, and then I would click on this standardize button. What this standardize button would do was it would replace all the generic terms which I over a period of time understood that these are the generic terms of a particular in a particular data set that I had to clean, because of which my data wasn't getting mapped to my master file, which was required to enrich the data. So there was a lot of manual effort that was going in every time, cleaning those or not cleaning, rather standardizing those names, company names, so that we could match it to our master table that we had, so that we could know that how important that company is, and various other mapping criteria, segmentation criterias that had to be mapped onto those lists. So this really worked well for HP, and within sorry for IBM, and the guys in IBM had very highly appreciated me. um, so here you can see that highly appreciated by the top management for organizing a cleanup uh, in India, South Asia's contact database, which had over 7 lakh rows, right? So that was one of the thing. Some of my other performances, which I can talk about, was reduction of 6 full-time headcounts at Royal Infra Constru Limited, by means of automation, standardization, and streamlining. I will be discussing some of those projects here. I have also optimized the salary computation and payouts using linked and selectively protected Google Sheets at Royal. We basically had about 24 sites, and each site had their own attendance system, their own little processes, and they were all working in silos. So what I had done was I had standardized all of those processes, given each one of them a single Google Sheet, and they were supposed to basically fill in the number of days a person was absent and just submit that form, right? So that would come centrally to the HRs, and everything was automated. Basically, they could just go ahead and just compute the salary from there on. I do not have access to those sheets because I have moved on from Royal Infra Constru Limited. So I am unfortunately unable to show you that sheet. Okay, before moving to Royal, I was also part of this company called MRM End-to-End Marketing Solutions. This was part of the McCann World Group back in Bangalore. Uh, I was in Bangalore from the year 2000 to 2014. That is where I had done my bachelor's in business management in Christ College, and started working. I had worked in Bangalore till April 2014, and then I got back to Calcutta, which is my hometown. So in MRM End-to-End Marketing Solutions, I was handling a set of 16 junior database analysts. We also had a telecalling engine of around 210 people, whose primary job was to basically, do cold calls for on behalf of key accounts like Microsoft, HP, IBM, NetApp, Dell. These are the some of the accounts that I had handled, and we used to basically slice and dice our database as per the requirement of our clients, and we used to give them band qualified leads, that is budget, authority, need, and time. I can talk about it in detail when we meet face to face, maybe. From there I moved to Royal Infraconstru Limited, and okay, let me not spend too much time on my resume, because you can ask me whatever questions you like on my resume. Let me move directly to the work I am doing right now. So coming to my company here, uh, this is currently Mystic Ventures. This is how I organize my files. uh, these are basically different sites that we have. So I will walk you through one of the files, and you will be able to understand the kind of work that I'm doing. So this is my Bellary daily report. This is the main page which my management comes and looks at. Here they can basically select the date, and they would know the report as on that day. All of this is happening through formulas, okay, and the collection is happening through a form which the site guy fills up. There is absolutely no manual touch points here. The number of daily labors that come in, the amounts, uh, the people who were present, the kind of work that was done, Here's a link to their daily report that directly takes me to the picture that comes in from the site, which is a handwritten report, which the site supervisors are also supposed to maintain and submit the Google form. So, they cannot say that, galti ho gaya or something like that. That is also this thing that we, sort of, check. We also record the daily expense and payments in our own custom formats that we have. And from this, we can also generate the expense summary, bucketized in various categories like back office, common equipment, common groceries, and vegetables. And when you look at this graph, it sort of gives you a overall view of how uh, the expenses are happening. This is very helpful for the management. So these are pretty basic actually. I have all of this is linked through formulas, and I'm basically getting the function. You can see there's a query function here where I have a data table, and I am basically selecting the soil here, and it generates the thing, and this graph is linked to this table. It's pretty basic, pretty simple, but it's working really well for us. Also, the employee details here, this is nothing but the attendance. So in our form we get who are the employees who are present here on a particular date. So I am picking up their names and their salaries, their names, their date of joining, and their salaries, designation salaries. The number of days that they were present, it comes from this particular date. uh, yeah, this is a sum if function. And if I take you to our current month here, which is May, the number of people who have been present in the month of May are here. Weekly offs, the accumulated leaves they have, earned if they have worked on Sundays or any holidays. If they have gone on leaves and they have availed any of the accumulated leaves that comes in, their salary advances come in, and the net payable as on today. If somebody wants to leave, we can just close their account and say, this is what you have pending with us. Here you go. Thank you so much. So, that is the level of automation we are talking about. Also, moving on to the um, uh, inventory reports, right? So, I think this is something that I can apply universally. Every company would have requirement for their inventory, inventory management. This is a very simple tool. I'm sorry, my internet is taking a little longer. I'll show you the form in a bit. Let me move on to the way the report looks like. So this is what it looks like as on 4th of May, sorry, 28th of May, right? So these are the things that we have. Now, moment I see that there are negatives, I know that they haven't filled in the report correctly, and I will pull up the correct person and ask them you know why is there a discrepancy. Coming to the report quickly, it's a very simple report. It has the date, it has the chemical used, it has the quantity of chemical that has been used. Also, there's a section if they have purchased any chemical on that particular day. Now, all of this computation is happening automatically, obviously. If I am to show you the form, here's the form. The data comes in this form. I am simply doing a sum if here. Okay, I know what particular chemical that I am trying to look for. I'm trying to look for this particular chemical, and I am basically summing up the entire range which is coming in from the form. uh, this is a very robust model that is working very well for us, and I am very confident that I can scale this to whatever is required. Also, what happens is this particular date that is coming in, I am picking up the last date using a large function from column AA of the form response. So the last date of submission, it shows up as the inventory report of chemical at Montogreens as on. So it looks very real, and it looks like it's been done manually or whatever. I mean, so okay. Uh, Moving on, sir. I'll quickly discuss the reimbursement tracker that we have. So all of this, we also have a process flow. How an employee is supposed to feed in the data. There's a digital process coordinator. What happens, how the data flows. This has all been discussed internally. This flowchart has also been created by me, and the management can look at all the sum that is unpaid as on date, and it gets recorded in a simple form like this, with links to the bills. At any point of time, if I want to look at a particular bill, I know that you know the bills are available at a particular folder. A proper folder structure is maintained in the drive. If I take you to the reimbursement folder, we have folders for each person, and each person, whenever they have traveled, so let's say between the to date and the from date are mentioned here, and the bill has been placed here. This is obviously being done very manually by the data entry operator. It can be obviously automated using forms. However, the current a set of people that we work with, they are not very comfortable with the form, because we are in the agri business, and we are talking about uh, supervisors who are not very educated. So we have employed a data entry operator who's currently doing that job, which is working well for us. I can also discuss, and I will be discussing some of these things which have been automated for a different person. Let me just dive right into the one of the consulting thing that I'm doing for Signo Printo Packaging. I currently own the DME account of Signo Printo Packaging. The previous one was Loyalca Group, which is my parent company. Here, let me first talk about the FMSs. Okay, so we have the SO post. This is the purchase FMS actually. So here, what happens is it could not be done using simple forms, because it was very complicated. So the person is supposed to just come here, click on the customer name. Let's say you pick on a particular customer name, and then we have to raise SOs against a particular order. So we have the customer PO number, and these are all linked to a master file. They basically select the items, they have a quantity. Based on the item, the rate automatically picks up, and the date of delivery. So whenever they want a delivery, you pick the delivery. And then what happens is also they can a particular customer PO can have multiple items, which was the requirement of the client, and each of them will have a quantity, and the rate will pop up, and the delivery dates. Then this is a button that I have created, which calls a script. Now this is the SO posting. It will call my SO posting script here. Okay, what it simply does is this particular script will basically pick up these rows, and this is also intelligently done, and it has been protected. Just give me a second. Okay, I had protected this from a different ID, hence I cannot open this and show it to you right now. Um, what happens is these rows will immediately go and get placed in my SODB in a separate file, and then from here it gets picked up and it gets posted in my FMSs. Then we basically look at the SMS structure basically takes over. We have multiple of those FMSs here. There is indent posting, there is pure posting. Each of them, they have their own individual scripts. So all of this that you see, sir, is completely customized. Okay, let me show you some of the formulas that is getting used here. Obviously, these are coming in from specific import ranges, which is nested within a query function, and the query function is looking at particular column not being null. Right. So here for this particular thing, let me quickly show this. The plan time here. Okay, you can see that everything is getting calculated automatically. Everything is number driven. The actual time is actually coming in from uh, link. So when they click here, they basically go to a pre-filled form. They fill in the form, they fill in the sample size that they're supposed to QC, and then they submit the particular form, and the data will immediately come here. Then the approved or the quantity rejected for this particular thing also comes in, and only when these two things come in will the actual time get recorded. The formula is here, sir. I'm pretty sure I don't need to explain it to you. Um, Similarly, for I'm doing multiple things for so this is the RMQC check. This is for the GRN. This is the purchase entry. They have various steps that they need, and all of that is being done using formulas and using forms and all of that, so that they don't have to manually do any of those things. Um, so that was the purchase FMS bit. Moving on to the QCFMS, also something very similar. What happens is when they receive new raw materials, there's a quality check that they need to do. So uh, the basic data comes in from the purchase FMS 3 PO2 item, and so the data of rejection is also something that is coming in. Then the NC number gets generated based on the nomenclature that's been defined by the client. I have written this formula so that the nomenclature gets followed. This All these things were previously either not being done, or if at all they were being done, they were being done manually. So this has been a great improvement for them. So here we can see that when the details are submitted, the submission status is okay. That is when the actual status would come in. And this is designed to capture it the first time. The second time, if they try and change something, it will not happen. The formula is designed in a way that it would continue to hold the actual time. Uh, the rest of it is basically repetition of the same concept, sir. Okay. Transport, CCM, these are all very similar. Also, see, when we talk about, let's say, a file kappa report here, right? So this has pre-filled links, and when these particular things are filed, I am also using AutoCAD. There are various AutoCAD templates, and all of them they get filed in respective folders. So that I have learned from a user. So I'm really using that to my advantage here. Uh, let me show you the accounts checklist. I think this is something that I've put spent a lot of time on, and this is very similar to the delegation sheet that you have. Since Signal Printer Packaging hasn't taken the COIT box access, they basically asked me to custom make something for them. So this was my version. This has very little scripting in it. However, it's built on a lot of common sense. What they wanted here was, if a task is to be done on a weekly basis, the person has to be informed a day in advance. If it is monthly, then 2 days in advance. And if it is weekly or quarterly, then they should be informed 7 days in advance. So I have written this formula. I had to literally rack my brains overnight to actually come up with this. And this is working very well for them. So the status here of a particular task uh, is shown here, that if it is done on time, or if it is delayed, or if it is pending, or if it is upcoming, then it is upcoming, or it is it shows scheduled when it is beyond 7 days, let's say, for the quarterly and yearly. um, because we do not want to show everything as upcoming. So we don't really need to worry about what is scheduled in the future. So something that is scheduled for 21st of May um, is not something that is important to us right now. However, something that is scheduled on the 11th of May is upcoming. So that is something that is upcoming. So 15th of May, which is a quarterly thing, is already showing as upcoming. So and also what happens is, I'm using Formule to send them an email. And there is also they also have their own individual worksheets, um, which gets import ranged onto their own sheets. And when they click on the submit work, which is a pre-filled link for that particular thing, they're supposed to choose a completion status here only, and click on done and submit it. Then it automatically goes away from their own dashboards. This is also working very well for the client, because this is exactly how he wanted it. They also have a PC who gets access to everybody's upcoming and pending tasks, so he can just follow up from this particular list here. Um, Yeah, okay. So I've also built a dashboard for Saket, which basically gives him the overall picture of things. He wanted a way to slice the entire report based on from and to dates. That has also been achieved using formulas. And here's a little a chart to basically show the performance of individuals. And he generally pulls up people, if he sees that somebody's spending is way too much. So it gives him a lot more control. This is something that I've done very recently. Uh, so to quickly show you how much I have worked on these ad hoc projects, I can actually show you the mechanism that I have to track their how I build them. So I have started working with Saket from the 27th of September. I bill him 500 rupees an hour. I put in the date, I put the start and the end time. The minutes worked gets automatically calculated. Uh, Obviously, sir, all credits to you for teaching me how to use an array function here. So the sheets are always kept very light. And yeah, so far I have worked for 144 hours for Saket, and together I have billed him 92,000 rupees. I mean, that's what is owed to me. Similarly, I have also worked with other companies, and the particulars of work on that particular instance, even if it's I worked with him for 3 or 4 different times. I record each one of them, and each one of them gets summarized at the end of the month, and gets billed to them with a proper GST bill. This is for a client called Goodwin Tea, and this is for a client called Fashion Formals Clothing. Um, right now, Signo Printo Packaging is the biggest, consulting client I have right now. Here's a list of work that I have done for him. So, everything gets recorded in detail, and, I ensure that, whatever time I am putting in here uh, corresponds with the revision history, of the particular files that I have worked on, so that there are no disputes for that matter. And also because it is only 500 rupees an hour right now, uh, maybe because of that, maybe out of respect, I don't know what exactly, but there has been absolutely no debates regarding it. Altogether, as of now, in the last 6 months, I have worked a total of 234 hours, uh, which has fetched close to 1,17,000 rupees in the last 6 months. Um, if I were to show you some more of the work that I had done for Royal, I had mentioned that I had worked for Royal Infraconstru Limited. There I was working in the capacity of a process optimization. So initially it started off with a lot of training for individuals. The kind of the basic trainings I give is also available in the modules that I have. It made sense for me to structure my training. For freshers, I had a different set of things that I used to teach them. For intermediate, I had a separate list that I used to teach them. For advanced, also this thing. Um yeah. Um, uh, Recently, not recently, I mean, I've quit Royal a couple of years back. So, I had also tried to train them on Google Sheets, but that weren't very, you know, um, well taken, because somehow they just wanted to stick to their own methods of working on Excel. And even the management wasn't very keen on shifting everybody on Google Sheets. Now I get calls asking me to train them on Google Sheets, because now they have understood that now that they have to work from home, the importance of Google Sheets. So, anyways, coming back to Royal, I can obviously discuss each of those projects and the amount of time that I have saved annually, and the amount of error reduction, value addition, and pilferage reduction. The major ones would be implementation of scraped data from the website. About this, I had spoken to you. This was basically done using Python scripts. I was working with another person called Azad, about whom I've also spoken to you. He was the primary guy who had done the Python scripting. I had done a little bit of the VBA to basically sort and organize the scraped tenders onto the required sheets for the management. So the amount of time that was saved, these are all in minutes. And okay, so before I show you the total of the minutes, I had also created something for the high-speed diesel that was being very honestly misused in the organization. People did not know how much of diesel was actually getting consumed in a particular machine, and how much was being put in, how much was being stolen, very honestly. So I had implemented a particular Google sheet where they are on a daily basis supposed to put how much of diesel has gone in which machine, and how much the machine has worked on that particular day. So eventually, what happened was, once that data started getting recorded across all the sites, and if they say that a particular bulldozer has worked from X time to Y time, then what is the work that has been done. So eventually, when we started tracking them, the cost of diesel drastically started coming down because the consumption was getting tracked. So it was something that reduced a lot of error. It was a value addition. It was pilferage reduction. um, I have also optimized multiple reports at one of the sister concerns at Kishangarh, uh, for which they had made me travel and stay there for 7 days. So we are into building bridges. I have also created a lot of templates to basically automate the process of planning. uh, Whatever were the manual inputs, they basically just had to put those in, and we could do that. So these are all customized projects. So eventually, I managed to save them an estimated 557 man days per year. So in Royal, I think 4.5 years was a decent amount of time. But sir, like I said, I very soon become a white elephant for companies, because you can only squeeze the lemon to a certain extent. After that, what happens is, it gets bitter, and I become uh, an expensive resource for them. So one of the primary reasons why I would really love to work with you is because you have continuous flow of work that is coming onto you, and it also helps me keep my skills sharpened, because once I have optimized something, it is very important for me to move on to newer, fresher projects. So thank you for your time, sir. That is all I have as of now. If you have any questions, clarifications, you can reach out to me at any point of time. um, just pick up the phone and just dial my number, sir. Thank you so much, sir.